precise that it became the first car stunt to be largely computer modeled in advance. The crew's hard work allowed them to nail the stunt on their first take. Why such a monumental achievement in stunts was paired with that silly slide whistle is anyone's guess.
I've never done that before.
Neither have I, actually.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
I like action movies, excitement, we all want some excitement in life, but not the wrong kind. Movies is a great way. I like movies, I like music, I like movies and music. And I used to like women very much and wine. But now there is nothing
Number
but
1, The Convoy, Mad
you.
Max 2.
No woman, no wine,
With the Marauders
just
in
you.
hot pursuit,
See
Max
how
leads a chase in a geared-out fuel
it's
tanker. Cars
impeccable,
crash into the
excellent.
tanker and are even dragged behind
I
it at
think
one
this is
point.
the best reel
Several
of
men even climb around the
2024.
truck, and one motorcycle is viciously run over. While Mad Max Fury Road basically made one whole incredible movie out of a car chase scene, The Road Warrior did it first. Despite a variety of serious injuries on set, the final tanker roll went off in one take without any complications. The scene's unbelievable levels of coordination and metal carnage have made it a classic that is simply too dangerous to be topped. This video is made in partnership.
Incredible physical prowess portrayed by these stuntmen and women of Hollywood. These are the top 10 stunts of all time.
I used to drag here back in high school. That railroad crossing up there is exactly a quarter mile away from here. On green, I'm going for it.
Starting us off at number 10, The Fast and the Furious. The whole franchise is basically an exercise in constant stunt one-upsmanship. From crashing cars, to jumping between cars, to jumping off trains, to jumping cars off trains, to a fucking tank. The Fast and the Furious series did it all. But we prefer to go old school for our number 10 slot with the original 2001 film that kicked the series off right. No, not the lowered Honda driving under a moving semi, but the original Dodge Charger flip from the final fateful drag race. Lots of modern films flip cars with something called a cannon, a stunt device attached to the vehicle that releases compressed air into a metal piston which shoots into the ground, knocking the car trunk over hood. The Dark Knight's truck flip uses one. Fast Five's prison bus tumble used 3. But the original Fast and the Furious took a slightly easier approach. They built a ramp onto the truck with just a single metal pipe and drove onto it. Simple.
Okay, now remember, it's a rolling off motion that disengages the bond. When the meter is blue, that's full adhesion. Easy way to remember, blue is glue. And when it's red, dead.
Mission Impossible is another series predicated on ridiculous stunt work. From jumping off buildings to dangling from cliffs, Tom Cruise has had his fair share of high-altitude encounters. But nothing else from the franchise quite matches our number 9, Mission Impossible 4's Burj Khalifa sequence. Not only is this stunt scene stunning, but it's entirely real. That's Tom does all his own stunts Cruise running around like a maniac on the outside of the world's tallest building, 160 floors above the ground. They did build an 80-foot-tall replica at Paramount Studios, but Cruise only used it for the 200-some-odd hours of rehearsal before actually jumping out the window of the real thing. Of course, he's harnessed in for safety, but almost every frame of the sequence takes place 1,700 feet off the ground, with the only exception being the dialogue, which was recorded at 60 feet due to the overwhelmingly loud crosswinds that occur at a quarter mile in the air. But before you write that off as tame in comparison, consider that 1,700 feet or 60, it's all the same if you hit the ground.
You both know what's at stake here. We cannot afford to lose that list. Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom.
Mission Impossible stunts, the James Bond
Indians
franchise
also say
its big brother. We could fill this
ma'am
whole list with James
a
Bond
lot.
credit scenes.
Here,
But for number
if you
8,
say
it's
ma'am
going
to
go
a
with Skyfall.
lady or a girl,
Motorcycle stunts that narrowly missed
thank
this
you,
list,
ma'am.
like
They
Terminator
think,
2,
oh,
Triple X,
do I look
and
that
Demolished
old?
2, The Great Escape, Skyfall's
So,
pre-credit sequence has a motorcycle chase for the history books. Apart from the few obvious green screen bits with Daniel Craig, almost the entirety of this incredible sequence consisted of world record-holding motocross riders jumping from rooftop to rooftop on real motorcycles, flying along ledges barely a meter wide without even a helmet to protect them. Now, if you think Daniel Craig deserves a little more recognition for his Casino Royale parkour sequence, maybe direct your attention to something even better. Number 7, District B-13. While lots of modern action films have tried to capitalize on the recent novelty of parkour by incorporating it into their set pieces, they've usually used a combination of stunt doubles, wire work, and CGI to do it. But District B-13 took a different approach. They just cast the guy who invented it. David Bell, who you see here, is credited as the founder of the parkour movement. Everything you're seeing happen on screen is actually real. No wires, no CGI, no pads, just parkour.
crazy guy.
Here we go. Stuntmen often find themselves falling from uncomfortably high places, but it's not often that they base whole scenes on extended periods of freefall. Fortunately for us, the past few years have seen a number of movies with ridiculous stunt skydiving sequences. There's been the new Godzilla with a stunning scene which did use real skydivers, but also a whole lot of CGI. Iron Man 3, which had the Red Bull skydiving team hide parachutes beneath their costumes for an incredibly choreographed mid-air rescue that took over 600 parachute jumps to pull off. But our number 6 is actually Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon, which employed a team of wingsuit base jumpers to perform the first ever proximity flying through skyscrapers. The team spent 2 weeks practicing their formations and movements on building-shaped mountains in
Arpita,
Switzerland
I hope
before
you find
attempting
it
this stunt. And Michael Bay wouldn't be Michael Bay
informative.
if he didn't throw some extra
See,
CG in the mix,
you should
but
be a
the end result is
sponge.
exactly as death-defying as
All
it seems.
information
A few
is
stuntmen in
good.
wingsuits weaving
No
between
information
buildings,
is a
flying on
waste.
air. And while we're on the
You would
subject of base
say,
jumping, we'd be remiss if we
why
didn't
should
mention
I?
awesome stunts like Triple
But
X's Corvette Bridge
keep
jump to parachute and the Spy Who Loved Me's base jump on skis. But our number 5 goes to a different James Bond pre-credit sequence, because one simply wasn't enough. And while we've seen various incarnations of 007 flip both cars and boats, fight thousands of feet in the air, and run on the backs of actual live crocodiles, our pick goes to the serene bungee jump from GoldenEye.
Can you imagine? Jumping from the Hoover Dam.
There's no real trick here. What you see is what you get. But this stunt makes our list because it's so elegant, which might have something to do with the fact that the stuntman is a professional skydiver, or that it's just a different, quieter side of Bond than the other stunts on the list.
So
Where would we
elegant.
be if we didn't include Jackie Chan on a top stunts list? Jackie has been doing his own stunts for over 40 years in more than 100 different films and has broken nearly every bone in his body to show for it. From his incredible Who Am I
Broke
building
every
slide
bone
to
in
his
his
Armor of
body.
God jump onto a hot air balloon to his